Good afternoon, good morning. Still a few minutes in the morning out west. Wherever you're listening to the show on YouTube or live, appreciate everybody. Have a good weekend. We are knocking out a Friday. What's today's date? December 13th. Yowza. It's why you play the game. Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT The Brick Show. All right, thank you. Let's see what we got. We'll do some of Coach Pierce's press conference. We'll see. AOC wants to play, ready to go. Hobbs. Visit your favorite tavern to enter to win tickets to experience a Vegas Golden Knights game in the comfort of our T-Mobile suite. All right. Beverage plus, one lucky winner will win a Zipper ride. So what's going on, man? Good afternoon. Hope everyone's good. We're just going to talk football. How about the Niners getting eliminated last night? Bobby Barbashev in overtime for VGK. Nice. UNLV's got a new coach. What other headlines do I want here, man? What are some of the other headlines that you'd want to talk about? Remember, we're opening this up to sports fans, not just Raider fans. So other topics need to be explored. Travis Hunter, yeah. Yankees acquiring a closer. I'll take it. Golden Knights win, like that. Thank you. All right. The Barbashev game winner. I like the sound of that. Yep. Yep. Good day today. Good workout. Good breakfast, good everything. Good night tonight. Weekend's here. Got a weekend. The Raiders play Monday night, so it feels like it's a real weekend, which is nice. Thanks for everybody jumping in here. Yeah, Campbell quitting on the Niners was a pretty big deal last night. Appreciate the YouTube. Thank you. Black Suede. Yeah, we need a revenge game. Fabian, the Winers have gone down. Yes. Big D, crush the like button. Yes. I think we're at 5,500, 5,600. And when we started with 100. It's a slower process than I thought, but we're getting there. We got to get to 10,000 subscribers before the Super Bowl. That's my goal. Then it'll kind of, the algorithms will kick. Go from 10 to 20 and get it going there. So let's try to get this thing moving. We talk about this topic of the burglars breaking into NFL players' homes on game night. It's pretty crazy.
I think there was a story in Kansas City a couple of years ago about that.
Yep. And I'm watching a new show on Peacock called The Jackal. Is it The Day of the Jackal or The Jackal? Very good show. Very good show. Wow. Really enjoy it. Hey, if you can put in the chat what you want me to talk about. I already know what I'm talking about for the 20 minutes, but I like to look in the chat and get your opinion. Let's do this.
It's the JT The Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes it off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10. Touchdown, Raiders!
And now, here's JT The Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we open it up, final show of the week, Friday. Excited to be here. Always excited to be here with you, playing the air drums here on our YouTube channel, JT The Brick. YT is where you can watch the show stream. It's the Raw edition, Bobby and me here on a Friday, and I'm excited to be here. There's a lot to cover in sports. This was a crazy week in sports. From Monday to Friday, man, it was wild. From Juan Soto going to the Mets from the Yankees. Bill Belichick, North Carolina. Are you kidding me? Bang, bang, Niner gang. Niner season over. Finito. And the Niner fans get mad at me. Well, so are the Raiders. I didn't mention the Raiders. I mentioned the Niners. Raiders didn't play last. We know the Raiders season's over. We get it. Wins and losses. But I'm talking about sports, and the Niners are out. And a lot of other storylines. Oh, give me the Barbashev goal. Let's get an overtime golden. The Golden Knights, man, my hockey team. I left the Islanders, the team of my youth, for a full cut because we had an inaugural expansion team here years ago. They went to the Stanley Cup year one, and they won a Stanley Cup through 6 years, and they win last night in overtime.
Theodore disrupts the breakout pass. Niederreiter 1 against 2 at the line, so we'll play it backward and go for a change. Nemesnikov changing. A steal for Theodore. Knights are onside 2-on-1. Theodore for Barbashev. Score! The Knights catch the Jets changing in overtime. And Vegas comes from behind, winning in overtime 3-2.
Dan Duva on VGK Radio right down the hall from us, so that's nice. I'm going to be diving into hockey here a little bit more. So I hope everyone's doing good. I hope you have a great holiday. It's a time of giving. This is the time to give back. Hey, UNLV is giving their fans something. Dan Mullen is going to be announced like right now. Actually, the press conference is going on. I would have liked to have attended that and introduced myself and a couple of buddies behind the scenes, wink, wink, who helped pull off that deal. Nice move by UNLV football to go from Barry Odom. Everybody's got great things to say about Barry Odom. He left for West Lafayette, got a lot more money to go to Purdue, which is shocking to me. And then Dan Mullen comes in off the TV set after being a former coach of Mississippi State and Florida. Good football coach. The guy who developed Dak Prescott, and Dak's making $60 million a year. And he'll fit in nicely with a pretty good team. He's going to have high expectations, man. It's a tough act to follow. But for us here in Vegas, that's a pretty big storyline. But I want to lead with the Niners this hour, and I'm going to talk about it next hour too. The Niners lost last night to the Rams in a really weird game. There was a lot of rain up in Santa Clara. They do not play in San Francisco anymore. They play in Santa Clara, which is nowhere near San Francisco. I lived there for years in San Francisco. It's not close. And the Rams came in, and the Rams knocked out the Niners, and the Niners season is over. And the reason I'm leading with this, because, again, the Raiders season is over from a win-loss perspective. We all know that. But the Niners had a complete meltdown last night because Devondre Campbell left the game. He refused to enter the game and left the field with the cameras on him and quit. And quitting comes in two forms or in multiple forms. You can quit before the game. You can quit during the game. You could quit after the game. You can do what Devontae did and just quit the Raiders by asking for a trade. That's a form of quitting. We have a lot of different opinions on who quits or not. But in football, it's very rare when you say to someone, get in the game, and they don't get in the game. Scottie Pippen famously did that for the Bulls with little time left on the clock, and it ruined Scottie Pippen. I mean, Scottie Pippen's still a Hall of Famer and a great player, but that stayed with him forever. The one thing you can't do when coach says, you know the song, put me in, coach, you got to go in the game. No matter what. And guys are putting their lives, their brains, their bodies on the line to play football. You got to be there to do it. So Kyle Shanahan after the game had to deal with that mess in the locker room. And the Niners now have full drama. So I put out a little video last night on Twitter X at JT The Brick commending the Niners for what they've done the last couple of years. I wish the Raiders would do what the Niners have done the last couple of years. The Niners went to 2 Super Bowls. Lost them both and had fourth quarter leads, but they got there. They won 2 NFC championship games, one with Jimmy Garoppolo, one with Brock Purdy. They signed really good players and drafted great. But the problem was they paid all their players, and their players' egos got in the way. Once you get a chance to be great and you start going to the Super Bowls and you're on the team charter and you're getting rings, everybody wants to get paid. So the Niners rightfully paid Christian McCaffrey. He deserves to get paid. Trent Williams, he's a mercenary, and he's going through a lot with his family, so we'll leave him out here. He got paid. Deebo Samuel he's a captain. I remember I tweeted that out a few days ago. Man, was I ahead of that storyline. Deebo's in his locker room wanting the ball. So they threw him the ball last night, and he couldn't catch it. Brandon Ayuk, a really good player in this league, really good. He held out for money. He's an egomaniac. He got hurt. No one saw from him again. And now they got a huge problem with Brock Purdy. What do? Do you pay him or not? And again, I'll dive into that hour number 2. We'll have a little bit more time. But the Niners are at a point where they had a window, and the window is closed. But I remember up in the Bay Area when the Warriors, remember the one year the Warriors didn't make the playoffs and then they won a championship again? Like, you can have a closure in a window for the playoffs and then come back the next year and win a championship. But I've always said a dynasty, you have to win 3. A dynasty isn't 2 in a row. You know how many teams, the Detroit Pistons, 89-90 won back-to-back NBA titles. They weren't a dynasty. Now, the Spurs won 5, but in order to be a dynasty, my definition is pretty simple. You got to win 3. It's got to be 3. It could be 3 out of 5. 3 out of 4 is definitely a dynasty, and 3 out of 3 has never been done before in the Super Bowl era, and Kansas City's trying to do that. And Kansas City is already a dynasty with their Andy Reid Super Bowls, and now they'll become a super dynasty if they win 3 in a row. And I reminded everybody, I tweeted that out today. The Raiders season's over. Niners season's over. Giants and Jets are over. Pretty big teams. Got a lot of fans in those fan bases, so we should all support Kansas City getting beat. If you add up the Jets and the Giants fan base, the entire Raider Nation, the 49er Empire, I came up with that name, Raider Nation, 49er Empire. If you add up those millions upon millions of fans, it might be 100 million. I don't know. The Raiders and the Niners combined, if you go globally, probably have close to, what would you say? 40, 50 million fans around the world. Yet in the Giants and the Jets, just in New York, how many people are in the tri-state area? We should all focus on Kansas City getting beat. What else are you going to root for? I mean, I'm Raider Nation doesn't want Denver and the Chargers to make the playoffs. They both might make it. So what happened with the Niners last night is there are a lot of fans ripping on the Niners. Oh, bang, bang, Niner fan. Niners are throwing punches at each other. True. In the building. Niners are out of it. Yeah, that's all true. But be careful what you mock, everybody. Niners are a hell of an organization. What they've been able to do with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, the amount of players they've been able to sign, pay, retain, and they've won a lot of football games over the last couple of years. The Raiders are trying to win a lot of football games, and they haven't been able to do that since they moved to Vegas. We've had very competitive teams here, 500 teams, a team that went to the playoffs. And then this year is one of the worst win-loss record seasons in Raider history, considering everybody, we don't like mediocrity around here in the Raider Nation. No one's saying, hey, man, this is okay. We're competing. You don't hear that from me. There's no such thing as a good loss in my world. Now people are trying to teach me what a good loss is. Stay away from me. I told everybody, just get away from me. I don't need to talk to you if you like to lose. You want to lose. Keep that to yourself about 20 yards off the torch. If you want to lose, don't bring that to Eric Allen and myself. We don't want to talk to losers. Well, we understand that people want the number 1 pick. It's a little bit complicated. You don't want to screw up the number 1 or number 2 pick. We understand all that. But when you play sports, you want to win. You cannot bring defeat into your life. I don't care what you do. If you're in a hospital, if you're an emergency worker, whatever you do in your life, you don't want to bring people around you who want to lose, because it's going to chip away at you some way. It's going to get in your DNA. It's going to get in there. It's like an open wound and a cut. It's called an infection in my life when you hang around losers. I told you, my dad told me as a young kid, don't hang out with losers. And I had a wild band, a motley crew of friends when I grew up as a kid. And they couldn't get by my front door if my dad looked them up and down. And I don't like the word loser. So sometimes your team loses a lot. This is a bad season for the Raiders. It's really, really, really bad when it comes to wins and losses, but I'm in the building. I see a lot of good. The players, Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, Jackson Powers-Johnson, Jacorian Bennett, the people that work for the team, all of that. I see a lot of good there. I just saw a year where we're facing a gut punch, and I come in every day trying to find something positive here. And what's positive is there's Monday Night Football in town, national audience, only marquee game we have this year in prime time. Again, I don't know who's going to win the game, but I'm looking for fun, excitement, Brock Bowers to have a big game. I'd like to see Max get a couple of more milestones. He needs 1 more sack for a certain milestone. I want that to happen. Individual achievements mean a lot. You better believe going to the Pro Bowl matters when you get paid. You better believe being an all-pro matters more than a Pro Bowler. You better believe getting a pick-6 interception when you're 25 years old and you might only play professional football until you're 27 and never play again is important to these guys. And I've been trying to preach that all year long, that there's a lot of relevance going on here. But I dove deep into the Raider record book. I think I know a lot of history with the Raiders because I sit down with history. I'm going to see Fred Biletnikoff tonight. Bo Jackson's in town for a signing. Marcus Allen is in town for a signing. I mean, you got a lot of Raider alumni coming to this game on Monday and are here, and life goes on. There'll be changes with this football team at the end of the year. I have no idea what they'll be. They don't run it by me. And I think everybody who's been here and working their ass off to try to win games deserves a lot of credit for their effort. It hasn't shown up on Sundays, Thursdays, and hopefully it shows up on Monday. But that's where we're at. And again, it's Friday. I'm in a great mood, Bobby. I've been really chippy lately. I understand. I apologize in advance. Yeah, right. I do. A festive atmosphere. Went to the rodeo this week. Had a lot of fun with that and got some holiday parties this week. So I want to thank everybody for putting up with me. Because, again, every day I come in here and I just try to just grip it and rip it and give you everything I got for a couple of hours. Toss it to Q. He does a great show. And we try to give you Raiders content along with NFL content. And I'll be moving more towards the NFL content at the end of the year because we're going to dive into the playoffs, the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to have a lot of content in the offseason. And then it could be on paper one of the great Raider off seasons we can remember, depending on what the pick is. And I'm really excited about the money that they have. I always talk about the rich divorcee who gets the big check and then goes down Rodeo Drive, has lunch, and just starts buying Rolls Royces and buying, the best of Gucci and Rolex and all that. I think the Raiders are going to acquire some Rolexes in the offseason. I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic because I don't want to go through life negative. And radio gets very negative, very negative. I mean, all we do on sports radio is point fingers and blame. We really do nothing else. It's the TMZ-ification of sports. It used to be look at the box score, who played great, have the guy on, hey, congratulations. And now it's gone upside down. Just like cable news, just like everything in life. No one's sitting there doing positive stuff other than the holidays. Everybody's talking about it's your fault. It's your fault. No, you did this. You did this. We got a head coach that everybody loved last year. Signs. AP, cigar parties. Everybody loved the coach. If you've never met him before, why wouldn't you still like the guy? Because of wins and losses? His whole team's been eviscerated by injuries. He didn't have a quarterback at the level of all these other teams. Why would your mind change personally on a human being that you don't know, you've never met, and if you did meet him, he treated you well? I say that about all the players. I give examples of Robert Gallery, one of the nicest people I've ever met. Why would you judge him on a second-round pick and he didn't become a Hall of Famer? Judge people for who they are in life and how they treat you. And if they treat you well, great. They become your friends. A lot of people you have in life that are your friends and never played pro football or college football. Never played Major League Baseball or professional hockey. They're your friends. I don't think you judge them every day on how they did that week at work. You don't know how they did. You weren't at work with them. You just judge them on who they are as human beings. And it's getting very, very, very judgmental around here. So I get it. I judge everybody on wins and losses. I wanted Desmond Ridder to play a month ago. I want to see Desmond Ridder play on Monday Night Football. I want Brock Bowers to break any record possible he can break because I know they put his name and likeness on buildings. That's how good this kid is. If you want the glasses half full, we didn't get a quarterback this year. We got Brock Bowers. Oh, my God, that's a miracle. I call it a sports miracle. We got Brock Bowers. We put him in the bank. Season wasn't any good, 2 wins, but we got Brock Bowers. And we got him for a while on a rookie contract. All right, he's not a quarterback. We're going to get a quarterback. We all know we're going to get a quarterback. We could get a veteran quarterback in Travis Hunter and have Brock Bowers. Oh, my God, we could have Shador or Cam, Brock Bowers, and bring in a bunch of free agent linebackers. We don't know what's going to happen. But we're into mid-December, going to late December. A lot of these games don't matter other than draft position. But the games do matter to the players and the coaches. And you heard that this week by a couple of people. Last week, you heard Rich Gannon saying that, it's good to get a bunch of wins heading into the offseason for team morale. You would have felt like the internet broke. Like Rich Gannon, a former MVP, saying it's great to win down the stretch. Heading into the offseason, guys' heads are popping. They can't come to grips with that. Patrick Graham yesterday at his press conference, you know what he said? My guys need to win. They need to be rewarded. How would you like to go to work every day, lift weights, run, get treatment because you're injured, practice outside, practice indoors, not go home, go to meetings again, get home late to your family and lose every game? No, you want to win. You want to have the feeling of euphoria, walking off the field with your brothers. You won the game. There's going to be no cigars. This streak gets stopped. No one's going to be popping cigars in the locker room. They just want to win a game. They want to have that feeling of winning. Because remember, there's going to be guys that are not on this team next year, and there's going to be a new quarterback here. You think the guys who don't get retained, who don't get re-signed, who get cut, are going to care about Cam Ward if he's the second pick for the Raiders? They're gone. They want to win a game. They want to go home to their families, go out to dinner in Vegas, get a day off and say, hey, let's go out to dinner on the Strip. We won a game. So there's a lot of that happening here, and a lot of people are having a difficult time. I've admitted I've had a difficult time with it, but just from a fan perspective of being a season ticket holder and a fan and going into the stadium on Monday night with my wife and kids, and we're festive and we're going to hang out with the people in our section and we're going to have a good time and wish everybody a happy holiday. Wish the Raiders, I pulled up today and I said, I wish I was walking into the building and the Raiders had 9 or 10 wins. That's what this franchise did for decades. For decades, they did that. And now they want to get back and do that again. So Mark's been trying to bring in new coaches, bring in new GMs. He's not sitting around upstairs doing nothing. He's trying to figure this out. He just made Tom Brady a partner for 10% of the team, the greatest, most accomplished football player ever. Mark's trying to figure this out, man. If Mark doesn't have the answer 1 year, he sits around a lot of people and they try to figure it out. Has he been wrong? Absolutely. Has he got some things right? Yeah. Now Las Vegas is the mecca of football when it comes to a business financial model. Never been done before. Never. It's never been done like this, taking a team with that big of a global brand into a market that didn't have the NFL and going from number 31, whatever, into the top 5 or whatever. It's never been done. And it's really a global achievement. But Mark cares about Super Bowls and the playoffs, but the Super Bowl is the big thing. He's a Davis. Al Davis, Carroll Davis, they're used to winning, flying with teams back to Super Bowl parades. There's all a vision here for what they want to do. They just haven't gotten it right yet. So the patience is wearing thin with a lot of fans. Other fans are coming in, buying our tickets. Other teams are coming in, beating us home and on the road. And we're watching a team in our division become a dynasty. Wow, that's a lot what I just said. And I don't have a script. I don't have a teleprompter. I'm just telling you this off the top of my head. So things got to change. Mark talked to assembled media in Dallas at the owners' meetings and said everybody will be evaluated. I've heard that before from him, and he means it. Believe me, he means it. He evaluates everybody, and he does it with the guidance of people around him who can help him. And Mark was the first to tell you when he took over for his dad what he doesn't know. He doesn't get in the way of. He hires people to do it. So that's what's going to happen here. Players, coaches, the evaluation process is going on. Just win, baby. Try to find a way to get it done. I don't think they're going to tear it down. I mean, there's a report in New York that the Giants are going to tear it down. I mean, literally tear it down and start from scratch. That might be a good plan. Might be a good plan for some teams. I don't think the Raiders are going to do that because of Max Crosby. I don't think they're going to tear anything down because of Max Crosby. I really mean that. I don't know it to be true. I think the Raiders with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby and about 3 or 4 players that should be re-signed, all the free agent money that they have and the high draft equity, the amount of equity that they have in the draft, which are high picks in every round, and the ability to package picks to move up. I think all that together, if you thread the needle, could be wonderful. You know, in politics in the election year, you never know who's going to win. You never know who's going to win. You have an idea. And a term you always hear in politics is we got to thread the needle. We got to knock on doors. We got to activate. We got to get people to the polls. We got to do this, that, boom, but we got to thread the needle. And then there's a winner. That could have came out of nowhere, right? We've seen that before in American history. comes out of nowhere and wins. Well, in the NFL, it doesn't work that way where you come out of nowhere. You don't go from 1 or 2 wins to the Super Bowl. It's hard to do that. But what you can do is learn from your mistakes, build on them, and then bring in fresh eyes and people to see it differently. Everything's in play now. We don't have to get gossipy. We don't have to wish people poorly. We don't have to tell people that they're fired on the radio. We don't have to do any of that. We can all be adults. You can come in every day and try to watch football, which is a sport, which is supposed to be fun, entertaining, enlightening, bringing people together. And then you have a season like this, and it's not oh shucks. It's blankety blank. I mean, everybody's upset around here, but you move on for the next day and you try to get better. There's a lot of people doing that in that building, especially with this coach and this staff. And what I mean by the staff, you do not go in that building and miss an assignment. You do not go in that building and show up late. You do not miss a day lifting weights and running. With Joe Philbin, Marvin Lewis, Antonio Pierce, all the coaches that they have there, so many to name, they are holding everybody accountable, and they'll be held accountable. And they're trying to put out a product there that hopefully on Monday Night Football looks better than the product we've seen most of the year. And I think it can be. If they get after it the way they have been on defense, they get Brock Bowers going. If Desmond Ridder plays, I think he'll have a big chip on his shoulder. And that's the monologue. I felt good. I wait around all day to do that. It gave me 22 minutes. I gave you 23 minutes. That's all I got. I gave you everything I got. Now you give me something. You give me something back. And then I'm out of here. Bucket of Modelo's Friday. Going out tonight again. Dinner with the Bolitnikovs at some point. Little holiday party. And that's it. That's all we're going to do. Walk the dog today. The sun came up. It was a nice day. Got a lot to cover. Vic Tafer will join us at the bottom of the hour. Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat. I just tell you, go if you haven't been to the Strat in a year or 2 months or whatever, go look at it. I think you'll be really impressed with all the improvements they made. You can go to the Top of the World restaurant. You can ride the rides. You can go to the William Hill Sportsbook. You can go to their flagship PTs in the lobby. And I think you'll have a great time. Thanks to Golden Entertainment, proud partner of the show. So Vic will join us coming up here. We'll ask him 8-10 questions about the status of the team, what's going on there, and then we'll move on. I'll get into Bang Bang Niner Gang later on. Man, they were throwing punches, man, in the second deck last night. Don't ever punch anyone at a football game. Don't ever touch anyone, especially your own, people with the same jersey that you have. Man, it is getting chippy up there with the Niner influencers. Oh, I meant host and people who go are credentialed, the influencers. Woo! Santa Clara.
It's the morning tailgate.
That was a good one, man. It was a good one. All right. Yeah, there's always fights for every team. Every team has fights in every stadium. But some fan bases, have some big ones. The Rams have some big fights. The Niners, woo! Raider Luke says, I've never even been close to an argument with another Raider fan. Always been in love with the game. Nice to hear that. All around's asking me Cam or Sanders. I have no bleeping idea. That has to be full-on analysis and hardcore tape breakdown. I would think Sanders, if he was available over Ward, would probably be the pick. Mark's comments about AP are the same thing about all coaches. Mark's going to talk at the end of the year. That's all. I'm pro coach. I'm pro all the coaches that I work with. They're all good to me. You know the story by now.
It's not just a destination. It's a thriving economic.
San Jose Niner fans act up extra. Yeah, Santa Clara, man. Wait 12:30 for Vic because he's in the meeting. So. Yeah, I took my life into a Eagles game. Almost got thrown off the upper deck as a young man. I told that story. Devin Williams trade to the Yankees. I like what the Yankees are doing. I would have loved to keep Soto, but the $765 million I thought was stupid. And now the Yankees are adding pitching, which I think it's their bigger need. Snow Raider, happy Friday. What's the weather like in Tahoe?
Sponsored by the Vegas Chamber in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you need cash, how quickly can LendingStore.com connect you to a lender faster than this commercial? When you need cash for a medical bill, groceries, or rent, LendingStore.com's network of lenders makes it quick and easy. In less time than this ad, you can fill out a few fields at LendingStore.com and find out if a lender can get you $500.
I mean, I'm not a big Cody Bellinger fan to the Yankees. Doesn't Cody Bellinger strike out all the time? Yeah, I'm not a big Cody Bellinger fan. I mean, I like him if he's on the Yankees. He's not the player he was, yeah. I like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Give me something. I'm gonna throw to the first two ones. So give me the one on Hobbs trending in a good direction, 87. 87. I put it down. Yeah. Can the Raiders shock the world with Ritter? Yeah, they could beat Atlanta. Atlanta's lost 4 in a row. Chili and Gray in Tennessee. Yeah, my wife and my son are going to my niece's graduation this weekend, which is nice. I'm back holding down the fort with my other son and friends in town.
Make this the best Christmas ever. Let's crush our competition and make sure you come to Sky Diamond. Today, through Christmas, 50% off everything in the store. Plus, use our interest-free financing and no money down. Now you're all out of excuses. Run to Sky Diamonds in Town Square and make this the most unforgettable Christmas.
Gambler's bonus hits again. On August 27th, Mark hit 4 threes, clearing his Gambler's bonus 400 card.
Yeah, I watched 2 episodes of this show today. That was really good.
Welcome back to the JT The Brick Show. Brought to you by PT.
The Jackal.
The best happy hour in town. 5
Patrick Graham.
and midnight to 2 a.m.
It starts with me. I mean, it starts with me. Just, looking at going back through it, some calls, I'm like, had some real good plays. I mean, they did a good job. I mean, I thought, Liam, I believe he did a really good job with his opening script, and it was pretty good. And then thankfully the guys got going, and I did a better job as it got going. But it starts with me. The slow start. I'm responsible for the defense. It's my responsibility to have them ready. I wouldn't say the players weren't ready. It really just starts with me. Just got to be more on my. I got to be better. Got to be better.
Everyone's got to be better. That's Patrick Graham, very accountable, in charge of the defense on what's going to happen going forward here with this team. The defense usually plays well. If they're on the field too much, if the offense can't move the ball, and you keep throwing this defense out again, it's a problem. One more thing I want you to hear, Bobby, from the press conference. This was Antonio Pierce on the status of Aiden O'Connell coming into the weekend.
Well, one, I think it is enough time because we got an extra day, so that really helps us this week. He won't go today in practice. He's getting better, though. He's improving. And we'll just take it throughout the week and see as we get closer to Monday night.
Yeah, so what they're telling us here is what we all know, that Aiden O'Connell's a football player, and he's healthy enough to be considered to play on Monday. So that he's not ready to practice, which leads me to believe he's injured or hurt. The definition of injured and hurt is different to other people. And I don't think he should play if he's not near 100%, but it's his career and he's the starter. And if he can go and gets clearance and is cleared to and be ready to play, it's another football game in his life where he'd like to start as we bring in Vic Tafer from the Athletic. So, Vic, where do you stand on Aiden, injured or hurt, banged up, or dodged a bullet on a serious injury? Should he be playing on Monday night?
Well, it's a good question. I think he wants to play. He probably realizes maybe his last shot at taking a crack at the starting job, so I think he's pushing himself.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me a couple of days ago, I always said definitely he won't play, but you never know. We got an extra day. We gave him on Monday, but if I had a bet right now, I'd probably say that Ritter's the guy on Monday night.
Yeah, it's very interesting for Aiden. You make a great point. You never know how long you're going to be a starter or if you're ever going to be picked to start a football game. And he's had a lot of bad luck this year on a team that has only 2 wins, and it is Monday night to showcase his talents. But I'm led to believe that he's going to be here. He's under salary cap control. He doesn't have a big contract. He's either going to be the starter for a bridge quarterback next year or the backup for, I don't know, a veteran or the number 1 or number 2 pick. So I don't think we should be thinking about it. Not that you or I am saying goodbye to Aiden O'Connell. He'll have more opportunities here, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I agree with you back. Maybe like you said, as a backup, but I think he probably reads all the stuff on social media and all the TV about they want a quarterback and the draft and all this stuff. So I think he realizes he probably has a small window here to kind of prove he should be the guy. So I agree with you. He'll be here long term probably because of his contract, but in his mind, I'm sure he's got a few chances left to kind of win a starting job.
What do you think of Sincere McCormick and his ability to play in this league for years to come? Because he's got fresh legs. He seems like he's taking advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, I've been impressed. He looks like the real deal. He's got a little shake and bake. His feet are always moving. He's got some power. He definitely makes the first guy miss. He kind of gets those yards you always want on the plays that look like they're nothing to be there. So I think I'm curious why it took so long to discover him. He's been on the practice squad for a while. So clearly, he must have seen something over the years where this guy's got some juice. But I guess better late than never. So I think he's got a chance now to kind of run with this and, like we were talking about, win a role for next season.
Vic, I'm really surprised by Zamir White, and I know a lot of it had to do with injuries, but when the guy was healthy, he just couldn't get it going. And I thought I was wrong. I thought he had a chance to be a beast, especially coming off his last 4 games last year. And what do you think his future is here? Because he's had his opportunities, but this isn't a great offensive line, and especially when he was starting midpoint of the season.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we all had high hopes for Zamir coming in this year. And obviously, he was very confident in fact he'd be the guy. And he had a great offseason as far as working out and getting ready to be in good shape. And we never know with injuries. I think also the new run scheme kind of they sent him back a little bit. He applied his own stuff. He wasn't really comfortable with it at first. I think maybe at some point your confidence takes a hit. So all these things happen, and all of a sudden you have a really bad, frustrating lost season. So I guess the hope is he can bounce back next year and be healthy and get a fresh start. But clearly, he's been bypassed on the ladder, but by Sincere McCormick.
Vic Taford joins us from The Athletic. Vic, when you watch the Brock Bowers game from the press box and before you go interview him at the end of the game, what have you seen about the rhythm of him not getting targets early, getting him in bunches, maybe getting him late in the game? What's the sense of urgency with Brock Bauer with all these elite records right in front of him?
Yeah, there is definitely a sense of urgency, but I also feel like these teams when they're playing, obviously he's the target guy. He's the guy who spent all week in practice and film session preparing for, scheming up. We've seen top cornerbacks go against them. There's double teams. There's bracket coverage. So clearly, I think there's some adjustments when the Raiders play these new teams to see what are they doing against Brock today and kind of go from there. And part of it also the quarterback. We mentioned, it's been like a rotation of guys, so it's not really a chance to get a rhythm with Brock going early on. So I think he clearly demands the ball and gets the ball at some point. Ideally more. It should be more often. But clearly he's going to set the record for most catches by a rookie, which is pretty amazing for a guy who has really come in and never missed a beat, never been off step.
It's clear that Jack Jones is an AP guy, and he sat down for a little bit this year, and he's come back. He's played much harder. What is your analysis and assessment of him and his future here with the Silver and Black?
He's still young. I did a story on him that I ran today. You see some growth. I think obviously the benching was a big deal, and he gets. I think he's a very emotional guy. You see like the highs and lows. He gets way frustrated. He gets way too confident. I think he has to deal with that. But you still see the ball skills. You see he's got good cover skills. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but clearly should be good enough to be a top 2 cornerback on your team, if not number 1. So I think you hope that he kind of takes another step maturity-wise. He already has this year, and can still be a guy to look at in terms of a piece here in the future.
Vic, I know you have a lot of subscribers and people who count on your podcast in Northern California who keep an eye on the Niners. How do you think that played out last night with a player leaving the field? Campbell didn't want to play, and the whole press conference with Kyle was all about keeping the locker room together as the Niners have pretty much been eliminated.
Yeah, it's crazy, especially in the game when it was 12-6 and the injuries on defense. He could have been a big-time guy. He could have been a guy who makes some key plays and helped them win. It's amazing how ego can get you in bad places sometimes. But clearly, it's been a horrible year for them. Everything's kind of gone wrong. This is the latest chapter for them, and talk about a lost season. So I think at this point, you got to regroup and figure out which guys are something to do there next year. You got some guys who are getting older, like Debo and guys like that. But clearly, they're kind of a mess as well.
Vic, last one. Where do you think the team and Tom Telesco and the coaches feel about giving young players more time? Because it seems like if you're a veteran on this team and you want to play, you're going to play, and they're playing hard. As you look at the team and are in the locker room and traveling with the team and you get on the road, it seems like there's a tremendous buy-in, but it's also that time of year when you have a 2-win team where young players get a chance to step up and play.
Yeah, I asked AP about that this week. I asked him about Trey Taylor, a guy I thought might go. He's playing on teams without defense, and Antonio said no, it's not going to happen because they're clearly still trying to win. So I think there's a room for young guys to come in and get some playing time, only if there's an opening. They're not going to push guys out or force veterans not to play. Just get young guys in there. So I think the focus right now is still on winning games while you incorporate some young guys who can have a role right now.
Follow Vic on Twitter and especially all of his columns at The Athletic. Thanks, Vic. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Hi, boss. Take care.
You got it, Vic Tafer from The Athletic. In our Friday slot, we have him every other week with Chris Matthews, the Dean of the Newsmen. He's over at the UNLV press conference, which is pretty exciting for UNLV. Back to the Raiders. You heard Vic say it. He covers the team at a high level. They want to win. That's not me saying it. I know it. And then we have Vic on, and he tells you. They want to win. If you don't want to win, we understand why. It's the elephant in the room, but the guys want to go out there and compete. Thanks to Vic Tafer for all he does with us, one of our great insiders. You know, Antonio Pierce was asked about the Niners in his press conference earlier today, what happened with a player walking off the field. I think this question was asked by Vinny Bonsignore.
Yeah, so won't speak about them, but if that happened on our team, one, I hope we don't have players on our team that's like that. That's first and foremost. Hopefully we do a good job throughout the week. And guys that we bring in, but I know that for the most part, I don't see that on our team.
So he's gone. Ian Rappaport broke the story. The Niners are moving on from linebacker Devondre Campbell. Coach Kyle Shanahan said after he refused to go back into the game Thursday night, upon being out of the starting lineup, Shanahan said they are working out the semantics on how suspension is an option. So I'm going to dive into that. I want to look at the highlights and talk about that game because we had a Thursday night game last night, and I'm on the radio Friday. Thursday night football, it's a standalone game, and that I love watching the Rams play. I'm not a Rams fan, as you know, but they got it right. What they're doing, how they're building their defense. Stafford, now that he's healthy, Puka, Kupp, they can run it. They're a good football team. Can the Rams win the Super Bowl? I don't think so. I think the elite teams in the NFC are Philadelphia and Detroit. And you know who's the happiest team today? Detroit, that they don't have to face the 49ers in the playoffs. They choked to the 49ers last year. So when you knock a good team out, even though they're not having a good season, if you don't make the playoffs, you probably didn't have a good season. But everyone around the league in the NFC is pretty happy to see the Niners out of the tournament. Because if the Niners were in the tournament, they'd have an opportunity to punch in the mouth. And if they got everybody healthy like Bosa, Kittle, Greenlaw, Warner, McCaffrey, and then what are you going to go pay? Brock Purdy. What you pay a quarterback means so much in this league. If you can keep that number down and use it to build depth and have depth on your team, and then if you have to go spend money. The most intriguing football player in the NFL for years was Kirk Cousins because every year he got like a guaranteed contract, a big one. And everyone said, what is that all about? How's he getting another guaranteed contract? What's going on with this guy? Well, the same thing this year now with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is going to get a guaranteed contract from someone, and it could be the Raiders. It could be anybody who wants a veteran who's going to be your number one guy to get quickly. Without a doubt, it's Sam Darnold. So when we got Gardner Minshew, Tom Telesco saw the quarterback board, and it was going fast. And maybe the most qualified, experienced quarterback was Gardner Minshew. It wasn't Carson Wentz. I had the list. I was looking at it. Now, could they have went down a different direction? Russell Wilson was just beeping like an alarm for $1 million. For whatever reason, that wasn't the decision. But this year, no doubt, Sam Darnold will be the player that everyone races and chases very quickly. He's going to come off the board quick. And when he does come off the board, someone's going to get a good quarterback. And if people are wondering about retaining him in Minnesota, everything I heard is JJ McCarthy is the guy that they want to keep. Don't shut me out today. Anybody on the phones, Bobby, or just listening to my interviews?
Yep.
I didn't throw out the number you said, right? 702-365-9200. Anyone in the Raider Nation want to win this game Monday? Bueller? Anyone? Anyone want to win a football game on Monday or get a Brock Bowers record? Door number 1, a win. Door number 2, a loss. Door number 3, Brock Bowers.
How about both?
Yeah, how about both? How about a win and Brock Bowers? Man, a win, that means the Raiders wouldn't have the number 1 pick. And a lot of these mock drafts have the Raiders tonight with the number 1 pick in the draft, and you don't want to take that away from Raider Nation. If you go to the Black Hole, they have a bunch of signings coming up here, and I think you should go check them out. So all you got to do is go to Black Hole, thebblackhole.com, see their website, and find out where their parties are and everything they're going to be doing this weekend. Freddie Bolitnikoff is in the air. Marcus Allen, who's been here with Ronnie Lott, he's coming back. And there's a huge group of Raider fans who are coming into town for this game because they have the tickets and they've had them for a while. And I think they're going to want to come out here and have a pretty good time. There's concerts, there's activations. We got a lot of big-time partners here on our show, as you know, and Virgin has a bunch of concerts during the rodeo that you can go check out there. Go to the Black Hole on Facebook or on Instagram and check out their lineup and everything they have going. The home of real Raider fans, a lifetime membership for $60 at thebblackhole.com. We'll wrap up this hour on the other side, 702-365-9200. I'll have a comment on UNLV's coaching hire. I don't think we're going to get any sound by the end of the show on that because the press conference is, I believe, now underway. But it'll be all over social media. Dan Mullen's a good hire. Didn't think they'd be able to get someone like that. Nope. Didn't think after losing Barry Odom they'd be able to get a recognizable name like that quickly. So for Eric Harper and the entire UNLV football organization, their organizations now, well done. Yep.
Even if Aiden O'Connell's not the franchise quarterback moving forward, he sure damn well could be a really good backup quarterback, and he could be the bridge guy for a Shador, for a Cam Ward, or whoever else that they may go back, whoever that is, right? And so there's different options, but he definitely solidified himself as a great quarterback. I do believe that.
Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q, weekdays at 2 on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m. Sundays are for football inside the Suncoast. Experience mega wall-to-wall screens, massive stadium seating, state-of-the-art audio, and exclusive.
Are we still online? There we are. I thought I lost my live stream, man. I hit minimize. There we go, everyone. There we go. Friday the 13th, Deb. Is it Brock Bowers' birthday today or was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday, right?
Local 872 has been moving Las Vegas forward. Our members built the Hoover Dam Extension Bridge, finished the city center, expanded our roads, and made Vegas the biggest stage in sports. Vegas is ready. It's game time. Bailey Chevrolet is Nevada's #1 Chevrolet volume dealership. Again, together, let's drive.
What's that?
Regina Gurnham, she's for the fucking birds.
We have a 5-hour energy. Does that work?
I live on these things.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta have something to even them.
You got to even it out, man. Got to even it out.
I buy these things by the box. Yeah, well, it's the big fan, Vinny.
Yeah.
Sucks it down twice a day.
20% off online purchases, hotel discounts for home and away games, access to members-only merchandise, and much more. All memberships are now lifetime memberships. Once a member, always a member. If you bleed silver black, visit thebblackhole.com today. That's thebblackhole.com.
Every year, thousands of acts perform in Las Vegas. but only one event brings the glitz to the gridiron. This December 27th, the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, we got bowl games coming up, man. Bowl games. Ooh, that's loud. Raider Dom, I'll have a Modelo. Remember, I work at the Raider game, so I have a limit on my Modelo intake at the game. Got to do the post game. I have a limit, which is usually 1 or 2. I usually have a beverage in the parking lot, always with my buddy Joe or the Black Hole. I have a beverage, and then have a beverage at the Torch or someone. But now we have to race down to the field and jump on the microphone. My cause, my cleats. Everyone's going to have their charity causes on their cleats. See, I know we had 350 people in this live stream at one time, and now the team's got 2 wins and we got 60, which I don't care what the number is. I'm doing the same show every way, but I appreciate the people who have been loyal here and people who come back here all the time. AOC or Ritter, Matt says. I'd like Ritter. I'd like to see Ritter play. I know what AOC can do. I've seen AOC. He's a good player when he's healthy, but I want to see what Ritter can do.
Attention plumbers, HVAC, DIYers, and construction pros. McFadden Industrial Hardware has everything you need for your next project. Open early at South Decatur and Russell. McFadden Industrial Hardware, your one-stop shop to get the job done. McFadden Industrial Hardware. Get in, get out, and get to work. Welcome back.
Oh, we're back.
Scott Turner.
Yep.
We got 6 minutes.
Chicken fingers. One love.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got a lot of faith in TJ, but he's got to be ready. I mean, they got a good front. They play really hard. You know, they're real active up front. They do a nice job, with the defensive coaches getting those guys ready to play. And they'll, all of our guys get to be ready for just the different looks we're going to get, but also just they play hard and they're going to be ready to go. They're fighting to win a division. So, and I know they've, had a couple tough games, but they're going to be coming ready to go, and we got to be ready.
That's Scott Turner, who's applying for the job with the Raiders or a future job in the league. I've liked everything he's done. Luke Getsy was not the right hire. He wasn't. And Luke Getsy, wish him well. He moves on. I think the decision to go with Scott and then bring in Norv, we've seen a difference here with the offense. A big difference? No, they don't score a lot of points. It doesn't matter who the coordinator is. This is a better coordinator in Scott Turner. It doesn't show up more in the offense because they don't have the talent to score a lot of points. They just don't. They don't have Devontae Adams. They don't have Josh Jacobs. Jacoby's good and Brock's good. The offensive line is up and down. I see grades on the offensive line that are terrible, and I see other grades that are okay. It's not a great offensive line, but they seem to have a cornerstone for what they want. So I believe that the next couple of days are going to be important for the Raiders. Got a good weekend here. Games on Monday night. Finish the week strong, and we'll see. And then the Carter Bradley, I see a story with him on one of the websites I have open here in front of me. I want to see him play. He was brought up, and they've had a lot of bad injury luck. But Carter Bradley is a big, strong guy, and he's done a nice job, according to coach, in practice. Very similar to Cecilia McCormick, the guy who's been prepped up for an opportunity to play, and let's get him in there and see if he can play. And if he can play and he has some wow factor, he's not going to be the starter next year. But all of a sudden, if you potentially can move him or have him around and he's a good player and you find someone because he plays 2 good games and makes some good throws, I'm all for that. Over my lifetime, I've been involved with teams that have been out of it. And it's a good opportunity to get young players in the game and young players who can step up and play at a very high level. The rest of the news around the league, it truly is now about Buffalo and what Buffalo is going to be able to do to chase down Kansas City. And don't forget Baltimore. Been watching Hard Knocks. The Commanders are also a team on the edge. If the playoffs started tonight, because we had Thursday night football last night, the Niners haven't been officially eliminated, but they're pretty much done. So this is how the playoffs stand. In the AFC, Kansas City's the 1. They're 12-1, and they have a 2-game lead on Buffalo. That's why that Buffalo loss was so bad, and Buffalo's playing Detroit and could lose. If Buffalo loses to Detroit and Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh could go into the 2 seed. Pittsburgh's the 3, Houston's the 4. Houston's got to be careful at 8-5. The number 5 seed is Baltimore at 8-5. The Chargers are 6 and Denver 7. You believe this? I was wrong. I have no problem being wrong. I'd have problems if I didn't have opinions. And I was wrong because I didn't have any opinions. Chargers are the 6, Denver's the 7. And the only team that can knock the Denver Broncos or the Chargers out of the playoffs are the Colts or the Dolphins, who are both 6 and 7. So without a collapse, and Denver and the Chargers are going to play each other coming up here. So let's just say Denver loses to go to 8 and 6. Then either Miami or the Colts will have a puncher's chance to get back into it. In the NFC, it's Detroit at 12-1, the Eagles 11-2. That's your solid 1 and 2. Both have clinched for the playoffs. If the playoffs started tonight, Seattle would be in as the 3 seed at 8-5. Tampa the 4, Minnesota the 5, Green Bay the 6 at 9-4. And the final spot in the playoffs is the Washington Commanders. The Rams, after the win, are only 1 game behind Washington. Rams are now 8-6. The Niners are the 11 seed at 6-8, and they're pretty much out. The worst records in football are Las Vegas at 2-11 and the New York Giants at 2-11. Then you have the Panthers, the Patriots, and the Titans, and the Jets, Jacksonville, Cleveland with 3 wins. I repeat, the Raiders have 2 wins. Teams right behind them are Cleveland, Jacksonville, the Jets, Tennessee, and Carolina. Those are all your 3-win teams. Raiders win 1 more game and get to 3 wins. They get thrown in a bunch, in a laundry basket with a whole bunch of teams that are there at 3, and now you're looking at strength of schedule. And the Giants are a mess. I'm going to talk about the Giants next hour. They had a practice where they were 0 for 16 in passes in practice. They're 16.5-point underdogs against the Ravens. 16.5. I reached out to a sportsbook director and said, it's not even firm at 16.5. That could go to 17.
Yeah.
When we talk about our Tuesdays, Fridays, Monday, Thursdays, we got so many partners. La Casa Cigars, Mike and the crew, Remy Martin, the Black Hole, Tequila Commissario, Grimaldi's Pizzeria. Kids got Grimaldi's the other night. They brought it home. They devoured it. Modelo, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Emerald Resorts World, Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, the 872 Laborers, Boyd Gaming, M Resort, all proud partners of our show here. Got 18 of them. And the DeCasta Verde Law Group, everyone I'll thank next hour at the end of the show. So when we come back, hour number 2, we'll get to the Rich Cannon interview. I play that every Friday because I really think it's the best content we do all week. Eric Allen and I. Rich Cannon coming up there. No coach interview. We had that yesterday. He spoke again. And then I want to dive into the Niners' loss last night. And then we'll look at a couple of the moving lines when we come back here. A lot going on tonight. The rodeo's still in town. I want to thank Las Vegas Events for sending me out there. I'm waiting for Woodson Bourbon Whiskey to clean up my photo so I can put my drip picture out there for everybody to mock. Hey, man, it's like Halloween. You get dressed up to go to the rodeo, and had a lot of fun. I got to return the hat to my buddy John O'Donnell, who I'm playing golf with on Sunday. In the NBA Cup, the Rockets versus the Thunder. Oh, could have had the Knicks and the Warriors. Oh, my God. And maybe Bobby and I can turn around some sound the next hour here on this press conference, the press conference going on with Dan Mullen and what that will mean for UNLV football. I was up in Boise when they lost. They turned it around pretty quick and made a good hire. We'll dive into that coming up also. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Niners are out. Out. Team that went to the Super Bowl in Vegas this calendar year, back in February. Football moves fast. All right, everybody, I'm going to jump in and just do the last hour on radio only, but I'll be here. Keep listening. Thank you very much. Don't know if I'm streaming Monday. I'm probably going to stream Sunday night for the Mad Dog Show. Have a great weekend, everybody.
I don't know how Monday's going to be able to stream.